Hiya. So I'm going to show you how to make a iPad wallpaper in Illustrator, kind of like this that I'm showing on screen right now. I'm definitely showing it on screen. I don't know why you can't see it. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new layer. Now my panels are not showing on my OBS, which are going to be very annoying, but you're going to want to make a new layer here. But you're going to go on the bottom layer and you're going to press the shape tool for the rectangle, and you're going to choose a color. Now, when you're choosing a color, I would say use your swatches. And whatever swatches you've got, the default ones are actually pretty good. But when you find a color that you like I found this blue. Here's a blue that I prepared earlier. That's a color you're going to want. Now, you're going to want to also remove your background from your outline from your square, and you're gonna go from the corner and just pull it over. All right, now you've got your background. You're going to want to go into your direct selection tool, click off it. Now go into your layer panel and then lock that bottom layer and go onto the second layer that you made earlier. Now close your layer panel and you're going to want to go into your curvature pen tool. Now, if you're a little bit like me, you probably have no idea what a curvature pen is, and that's great because I'm here to explain that to you. Now you're going to want to select a different color. I'd say I want to go with this nice pink, and you're going to want to drag this little dot to here with your mouse pointer. Okay, now that dot is your anchor. Okay, if you hold the space bar as you drag the mouse around and click, you can move your canvas perspective, and you can use Command plus and minus to zoom in on the point that you currently have selected. Now let's get back to where I was. If you click, you are making a line. If you keep clicking, you can see you're making a shape. Now just keep on clicking and moving your mouse slightly into, a shape that you think looks interesting. Now, once you get to the end, you're going to want to go there, and then you're going to want to hit that path there. That's very important that you do that. Okay, now you can keep making that shape that you had in your mind, or you can just freehand it like I am right here. Just keep, curvaturing, and there you go. Now, when you're done, you can either click onto the anchor original to round it off, or if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can just go straight onto your direct selection tool. Now, you see right here, we're cut off the edge a little bit. That's okay. That's Illustrator is fine with that. You can absolutely get rid of that later. Now, this is where you can do any transforming, any movement, anything you want to change about it. Now, if you don't like the point that any anchor points are on, you can adjust them here, and you can add more to really hone in and make the shape exactly how you want it to be. Now, if you've got that, you can then make another one. You just do the same thing, basically. Just coach a pen and just go for it. Really tear it up. This is something I really love making because it's just really free. You can really do it however you want, really freehand it. It just kind of like a type of drawing and making something and designing something that you can really just freehand and be yourself with. That's yeah. Oh, what? There we go. Now I am gonna round this one off. Um, okay. Now, drag that up a little bit, and there you go. Now I made the other one a little bit thinner. I'm gonna make this one thinner, and I'm gonna make this one thinner, and I'm gonna move this a little further up. Now I'm trying not to make it look super squashed, but I think that works pretty well. Now you can see right now I've got about half of it. Now this is where I, start to have a bit of experimentation. I'm like, oh, maybe I could do a swap colory type thing. Like maybe I want this one to be just a slightly different shade of blue and then a pink one underneath. Maybe that's the idea that I've got right now. So, if you select an object, you immediately select the color that object is. So if you want to go back to a color you already had selected, you don't need to go back into your swatches. You can just click on the object you already had. Now, to add a swatch, once I've done the shape, I will show you that. For example, now there we go. We've made another shape. Don't know if I'm going to cut this part out, but there we go. We have another shape right here. And you're probably thinking, okay, but what if I want to that end point is being really annoying? Let's just extend that out a little bit. You can do that. Or if you want to be a bit more, civilized about that, you just like don't do that. You because I am clumsy with the keyboard. You don't have to select anything. You just Command Z to undo, and then you can use your curvature tool to extend that out if that not being at the edge was bothering you, because it was definitely bothering me. Now you're probably thinking, okay, what about swatches? You've been talking about them a lot. How do I change them? Like, how do I make a color that isn't a swatch a swatch? Okay, so let's say you go into the color picker, which isn't going to show up on my window, but you use the color picker to select another color. Let's go with this nice purpley, like we go with like a nice pastel-y purple to go with the theme that we've got so far. I'm using an RGB palette, so this is going to be interesting. Now you press OK, and you can see I've got this right here. And you're probably thinking, okay, what do I do with this now? It's like it's on my swatches, it's on my recent colors, but how do I get it out of that? Now you just click and you drag it into a swatch folder. And if you're thinking, oh, but like I don't have a folder for this, you can just make a new folder. You rename it. I'm gonna name it Wallpaper, and you press OK. And it will immediately put the current swatch that you have selected into that folder. You can also, then select your objects that has swatches that you haven't added yet and put those straight onto this folder. And then they're right there. Now let's finish this, shall we? The last one I'm going to make, I'm gonna put on here. Now, because I've left myself a small amount of space, I'm gonna very much work around that and like do this sort of thing. Pull that down and pull that up, and then we're gonna try and work around the fact that I didn't give myself much space to work with at the bottom. Kind of incorporate the end of the artboard in. And you can see right there that I've done that reasonably well. Now there we go, we have a shape right there. Now this is the point where I start to think, okay, where would all of this go better? What shape, what size, what should I do here? Do a little bit of adjusting, try and make stuff fit a little bit more. And then that's when I think about color. Now color, really interesting. You can always mess color up. That's the thing. So doing something different, like maybe I like this purple as a background, and then I could have the blue as like, you know, maybe the blue is the perfect color for the thingies, and you can really test that out and see how that works. Oh wow, doesn't that look great? Right? Let me show you how to export. So you're going to need to go into File, then Export, and then if you really want to like have it be like, a screen thing, like you press export for screens. If you want to like be able to have some options, you press export as, and then save for web is like if you're doing web design, which we obviously are not. So now you need to choose a place to put this wallpaper. Okay, and I'm going to put this right here, and you can decide how you want it to come out. You can have a PDF, JPEG, PNG, a bitmap image, literally whatever you want, an SVG to keep it vector. I'm going to make it a JPEG. Now you're probably thinking, that's a horrible idea. The quality. Um, yeah, leave me alone. Now we press export, and here's where you get the pop up with JPEG options. You can choose to have the color model, RGB, CMYK, or grayscale. You're going to want RGB if we're doing this for screens, but if you're printing this out, then you're going to want a CMYK. You can choose your quality. You can have smaller file is like 1, and then 10 is the larger file, but the best quality. You can choose your resolutions. For me, I'm gonna have 300 ppi. Even though I'm not printing, I still get a bit of peace of mind. And then you just click OK, and it should export that JPEG to your file. Now, something that you should also do as you go is, save as and chuck it somewhere in your folder. It's going to prompt you to decide whether or not you want to save it as a cloud document or save it on your computer. I'm going to save this to Creative Cloud. And yeah, now you have it saved. If you want to pull this up in your iPad, you should be able to go into your File Explorer and find that file that you saved if you're on a Mac and everything syncs by iCloud. If not, then you're going to need to do a finicky file transfer sort of thing, you know what I mean? But have fun, I guess. And that's how you make an iPad wallpaper like look that looks funky and abstract and cool in Illustrator. Thank you for watching. Bye.